Hello guys, we are in Lima, Peru. I'm located right now in the valley of Mala. It's about an hour and a half away from the city. So my bike just reached 10,000 kilometers. I'd like to make a review to point some things out, to give you some all the things that happened to me with this bike over 10,000 kilometers. So yeah, I like to talk about it. There's some good things about it and some bad things about it. So let's get on it. Okay, first, as I mentioned on my other videos, I would recommend from day one to buy all the protection for the bike. Crash bars, also the rear rack for the side cases. They also make the job of protecting the bike as a rear crash bar, as well as the skid plate, to protect the engine down below, because this bike is low, so it's gonna bump some, if you do off-road like this, or maybe hard or even more difficult off-road, it's gonna protect it a lot. And then continuing with protection, it is a must to have this kind of headlight shield, as well as this kind of windshield. A couple days ago I had an accident. I had like a low accident where somebody opened their door in traffic and they bumped it on this part. This one broke in half, and the windshield broke this part, and it protected my headlight and my side marker. So if I didn't have those, probably I will be having a broken headlight and the side marker as well. So you really need that. And I like this over the metal ones because this protects the whole windshield, because the metal ones has holes, because it's like a mesh. And this is really cheap to replace. Basically, this one I just in your country there's people that make acrylic, that work with acrylic, they can make you this, and they made me this locally, and I pay like $10. So I think like $8. So really cheap. I just had to buy a new windshield, but that's how it is. You gotta be careful. Okay, so talking about the negative about this F750, I would say a little negative is about the height of the bike. As you can see, it is not that tall, and it's gonna hit, so you need protection. And the other thing, it's the riding position. If you're not that tall, I'm about 1 meter and 72 centimeters, and I needed to install this handlebar raiser, and at the same time pushes back a little bit. So my riding position, it's more, like in the 90 degrees kind of. I'm not like, all the way in front of, leaning my body in front to reach the handlebars. So if you are tall, you may not need it, but for me, I do. And as well as when I'm standing up, the position when riding off-road, it's better with this riser. Talking about standing up, I replaced the foot pegs. These are from the R1250, so they fit, and it's way better than the OEM. There's some cars coming by, so this improve the riding comfort, especially when you are standing up. And also the rear brake, it's a little low. Well, my brake pads are about over 10,000 kilometers. I have like 60% left, as you can see. So I'm in good wear. The braking power, it's okay. For the rear, you only use it for off-road. You don't need to use the rear for on-road. And because it has some wear, the brake lever has even, push and lower. And because of that, I had to install this Touratech, this kind of extension. It does raise a little bit. This is the stock height and this is how much it raises, just a little bit, but it gives you a much better grip for when you're using boots. I'm using these BMW all-around boots. They're not as off-road, but still it improved my rear brake feel. And as well as when I fell, I have fell from this side of the bike. This part, crashed to the ground, and it bent, in upward, and I just basically took it off, and I just hammered it back to its position. So this is a good piece. I would really recommend to install this. Another negative, I think it's with most bikes, the horn doesn't sound as it should be to my taste. So I installed this Hella super tone horn. These are basically usually installed on Subarus on the front grille. So this comes in pairs, and you have to use the one that has a heavier tone. And it sounds much better than the stock one. Also, you can be heard by other people. I was talking about crash bars. This is where I crashed. The gibbies are really good. I've crashed maybe 3 times on dirt, and when I had the accident in the front, and it stood up, stood up really the head. And I want to get more of this to install on this part. As you can see, this is where it hits most of the time. So install one. I'm gonna buy a couple more of these. I bought it on Amazon. I'm gonna install it here. Here at the bottom, as you can see, it is scraped over there. I mean, there's no way you can put one of these here. I just have to sand it and then paint it. Okay, from this side, as you can see, this is the base model. I don't have electronic suspension or quick shifter. I mean, the shifter is really smooth of this bike. It changes gears really smoothly. Also, it goes into neutral like butter. The transmission of this bike is really nice. I have no complaints in that department. Also keep in mind, this is the highest you can put the shift lever. I tried to put it more higher, but I mean this is the limit of this part. I just couldn't screw it more to lift it. So keep that in mind if you are gonna use off-road boots or more aggressive boots. But for these boots, the BMWs, that position is fine. I don't need it to be higher. You can change that. There's aftermarket shift levers where you can adjust it if you need it. Another negative, it's about the chain noise. It's true, the chain makes like a slapping noise, hit noise. People complain about that, but what I do to improve the sound, I put the pressure on the rear about 28 psi, because the factory it's like 34, so I think that's a lot. And the slack, as you can see, it here says between 30 and 40 millimeters. I put about 30, so with that it improves the sound when you are off-road or hit any bumps on the road. So that's mainly the negative. That's it. I mean, there's not much negative with this bike. This is really, I really highly recommend it. Compared to the 850, I would like to get it. There's a version like this that is like a low chassis, because the normal 850 is really high, and for me that's too much. So I would like to get, I would have loved to get the 850 low chassis. I didn't know about it when I bought this one, because it's basically similar size, but you get the spoke wheels, inverted suspension, and as well as and yeah, I think that's it. That's the only difference. It's still, you don't get electronic suspension. Still, you get the screen, the keyless. So I would have loved that, but with this, I'm really happy. And talking about the good things, the suspension, even though this is the normal suspension, I mean, it performs really well when I do jumps, when I go over dirt like this, when I go over bumps. I mean, it really surprised me. Don't judge it by the looks that this is a normal fork that is gonna be bad at performing. Not at all. So more good things about this motorcycle, the 750, the headlight. This is the basic headlight. Doesn't have the line, that has like a daylight running light. This one doesn't because it's a basic model. But you know how it shines the road. Before I had these rigid fog lights. I mean, it shines really good. I mean, it's really bright. I'm really impressed by this headlight. But still, for safety reasons, you always want to install some auxiliary lights. These are the rigid. These are the basic ones. I think they are called dually, and these are the flood. You really need a flood because you need to shine, like a broad spectrum. You don't need a spot for a motorcycle. Um, I know there's another light, the Baja Designs, that has both kind of both a spotlight and floodlight in the same light. I got a buddy that had those, and really, it's really more bright than this one. And of course, I mean, the cost is about more than twice over the rigid. These are about 150 on Amazon, and the Baja Designs, they run for about 350, I believe. Talking about the turn signals, I mean, these are the same, most BMW has. They are really bright. They look really sharp. They look really nice. That's the usual thing from BMW. And then going to the back, I would like to talk about the rack, the metal rack that holds the OEM top case. People say that shouldn't go with your top case over off-road because it's gonna, it's gonna put some tension, some stress on your rack. Well, like I said, I've ridden 10,000 kilometers, and dirt would be like maybe half of that, maybe 40% of that. With this, it doesn't move an inch. It's solid. It's really solid. I like to, take it with me every time because I keep all my stuff here. And also, this is more visible for the other cars when I'm driving back on the road. So that's why I always take it. Besides, I've set the sack of the shock according to the weight of the top case and everything I got on the bike. So when you set the sack according to your weight and according to what you have on your bike, the rear suspension, performs also really well. It doesn't make you jump over your seat or bumps. It copies the road really well, and that's you need to get that adjusting the sack. Like I said, you can look up on YouTube how to adjust it, and also you need to adjust that screw. I believe that's the rebound. I look it up on the manual. So I think from the factory it comes all the way clockwise, but that's for when you have like two people and with luggage. But if you're a light person, I weigh about 74 kilos and I ride solo most of the time. I got my luggage. You have to turn it back about 1.5 turns. And when you do that, the absorption of the shock is gonna be well improved. Also, I like to recommend always to put an extension of the side leg of the bike, like this one. I gotta give you one. It is always a good thing to have that in case you park your bike in difficult terrain or sand so it doesn't sink, because this leg, the side stand, it's kind of short. So when you are off-road, when you park it on your side stand, it's gonna lean a lot. So that helps to maintain the position of your bike. Also, I like to talk about the seat. This one is the seat that has the red part of the back, and the material, the quality of this is really nice. It doesn't stain. When it gets dirty, I wash it. Goes away really quickly. I really like this fabric. At first you're gonna feel it really hard, and I was even thinking about changing this for a softer one. But over time, over 10,000 kilometers, it got softer. So no complaints over there. If you feel your seat really hard, just keep riding it, and it's gonna get better over time. Also, what I love about this bike, and people on YouTube said they don't like it, but I don't know why they don't. It's the keyless function. This is great for me because I just keep the key fob on my pocket, and I just push the button, start my bike, and then go. Because before I would put the regular key over here, and on my key I usually carry like a knife, like a spare more keys, maybe a keychain, and it makes a really bulk here that scratches all this part and makes a lot of noise, and it's bulky. So to me this is great. I love it. This is one of the reasons I bought this bike, because I wanted a keyless function. Also, for the gas tank, you don't need to have your key here when you open it up, and then you have your key hanging and it's scratching all your paint. So here you don't have anything. That's great. You close this like this. You just push hard. There you go. I had a couple of guys that I had problems with their keys, and they couldn't open the fuel tank. But if you read your manual, there's here a section that it's separated from the whole circumference of the tank, of the gas cap, and then you remove these two bolts and you remove this piece over here, and with that you'll be able to open your gas tank without, if you have a malfunction of your keyless. Okay, finally, going to your cockpit. I really love the multifunction wheel, to scroll between the menus, to change your songs, to answer calls. This is great. I mean, I love the way BMW created this wheel. And this is really simple as well. You have here a button for menu, here for deactivating the ABS and the traction control. You have your hazard switch, your horn, and your high beams. And here also really simple. You got your heated grips, your modes. I got 2, rain and road. And of course, to start the bike. Something that happened to me here on the mirror. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm gonna make the glass got loose over time, so this doesn't happen here, and I just replaced this under warranty, and I need to replace this one as well. So you gotta keep in mind, but if you have a warranty, just go to your dealer and they should change that for you. Also, the display is great. I put this hood to protect it, but even if you have direct sunlight, you can see the screen. I mean, it's really sharp. I mean, the display is like it's not a display. It's like you have some actual graphics on it. I mean, it's like you have like a magazine or like a piece of paper there. It doesn't look digital at all because it is so clear. At any angle, you can see from this part. You can see, I mean, from this section, it's gonna look the same. If you see from here, it's gonna look the same from here. Also from down below or from up top. So I mean, this is a great display developed by BMW. It's awesome. It's beautiful. We got some people coming in their ATVs and some bikes here. And then to finish up the video, also you have here your 12 volt auxiliary to install, to charge your phone or anything that you want to add. Okay, so this is the end of the video. This is a great bike. This is an awesome bike. It looks really good. It performs really well. There's nothing I would change it from this. I mean, for what it is, it's great. Their brakes, they could improve a little bit because I noticed some fading when I was hitting it hard. But you can always change the pads for more aggressive ones, so there's no biggie there. But overall, this is an awesome bike. I'm really in love with this, and I wouldn't change it. I would thinking of changing it for the 850, but it's basically almost the same. Maybe the 1250, but that's way too much. So for me, this is good. The tires perform well, even on off-road. I mean, it's a great bike. I would highly recommend this if you're looking to buy this model. Okay, thank you.